According to a new report based on interviews with former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, the National Security Agency secretly planned a cyber warfare program that could automatically fire back at cyber attacks from foreign countries without any human involvement, creating the risk of accidentally starting a war. The report said the program, codenamed Monstermind, would have let the military agency automate the process of hunting for the beginnings of a foreign cyber attack. According to the report, published this week by Wired magazine, the software would be constantly on the lookout for digital traffic patterns that indicated known or suspected attacks.
A leaked 160-page Department of Homeland Security document, dubbed Capstone Exercise 2014, Scenario Ground Truth, describes a nationwide drill taking place from March 27th to April 24th, 2014, in which martial law is declared in the aftermath of a massive cyber attack by several fictitious anti-government groups, one specifically named Free Americans Against Socialist Tyranny. The drill guidelines read like a top-secret presidential directive, even mandating that the document be kept in a locked safe. Each and every page is stamped with the order "Trusted Agents Only," and describes how only DHS agents are to view the document, specifying that the thousands of local and state employees taking part in the drill, even National Guard and military members, be not allowed to look at it. In the wake of the national disaster, it is not Russia or the Chinese who have historically waged frequent cyber attacks on the U.S., but liberty-loving Americans who are the enemy. According to the document, quote, cyber attacks are expected throughout the exercise by members of anti-government organizations, such as Free Americans Against Socialist Tyranny and individuals sympathetic to their cause. According to the drill, the Free Americans group are not acting alone, but in tandem with government employees, the National Guard, and current and former military members. Quote, while some Free Americans Against Socialist Tyranny members are capable of conducting adverse cyber operations, the greatest threat is current government employees sympathetic to their cause. Also included are employees within U.S. Northern Command, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Army, National Guard, and Defense Information Systems Agency that may support Free Americans Against Socialist Tyranny doctrine. Free Americans Against Socialist Tyranny sympathizers may include both former and current members of the military.
Pete Martino from Epsom. I'm a retired colonel in the Marine Corps. I was the Ministry of Defense coordinator. My job was to man, train, and equip the Iraqi army in Al-Anbar, Najaf, Karbala, and northern Libya provinces. And I'll tell you right now, Homeland Security would kick their butts in a week. What's happening here is we're building a domestic military because it's unlawful or unconstitutional to use American troops on American soil. The way we do things in the military is called task organization. You take a command and then you attach units to it in order to accomplish the mission. Homeland Security, what they're trying to do is use standardized vehicles, standardized equipment. I saw a picture in the Boston Globe during the marathon bombing where two officers, they both had identical helmets, flak jackets, weapons, everything I wore in Iraq, only it was all blue. The officer on one side had a big patch on his back that said Massachusetts State Police. Another officer next to him, his patch said Boston Police. Let's not kid about it. We're building a domestic army and we're shrinking the military because the government is afraid of its own citizens. The last time more than 10 terrorists were in the same place at one time was September 11th, and all these vehicles in the world wouldn't have prevented it, nor would it have helped anybody. We're building an army over here, and I can't believe that people aren't seeing it. Is everybody blind?
I want to talk about who's the commander-in-chief of the military. It's not the President of the United States. He is not the commander-in-chief until war has been declared. War has never been declared since World War II. And I have had 9 combat tours. And each one of them has cost me 18 months of my life. I've done my fair share of killing. I'm tired of it. And you're either going to go to the ballot box or you're going to go to the bullet box in the next 18 months. If you got that time. I'm dead serious. I'm a former Green Beret. I know exactly what I'm talking about. This ain't no game, folks, and I'm going to read to you in just a second. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy. Notice it doesn't talk about the Marines and the Air Force. There's a reason for that. Of the United States and the militia of the several states, when called into actual service. So if they're not in service, who's he commanding? If they're not in war, who's he commanding? On my birth certificate, it says Caucasian male. I went down and got me a new birth certificate because somebody wanted the police department. I was a white male. I said, whoa, wait a minute. I got two birth certificates here. One says Caucasian, one says white. She says, well, they mean the same. I said, well, then why did you change it? Tell me. Couldn't do it. There's a reason for that if you understand psychological warfare. It's taken away your humanity, which makes the soldier who's going to kill you feel much easier. The first thing they do when they want to kill you is they start changing who you are. They take away your identity. A horse is the same as a pony. A girl is the same as a woman. It's not true. This is the proposed new Constitution that has already been drafted. They only need the right incident to bring it down. And they're working on that right now. We're not very far away from an event that's going to bring what you call martial law. That term will never be used, by the way. Emergency police powers will be. It says, change the Second Amendment, change the Eighth Amendment, removing the First Amendment clause. Who do you think they're targeting on that? Christians. The states must become submissive to the federal government in all aspects. Allow Congress to states to perform federal duties in emergencies. In other words, they want to be able to send everybody anywhere they want. This is what the world's going to start to look like by 2015. I snapped that with a little camera. I was in that office that you see. That's the Secretary of the Army. Secretary Hillary Clinton was there. He said in 2015 events are going to start happening. That's going to transform us into this. Now you've seen the Constitution. I'm not blowing smoke up your backside, folks, because you ain't got nothing I want. And I'm not afraid of a man in here. You don't intimidate me. This is going to happen. It cannot be stopped. You got to make your mind up to man up or get out. Lead, follow, or move. This is serious business. There's going to be a lot of blood, folks, because you're looking at one 60-year-old man ain't going to go along with it. Been there, done that. What they going to do, kill me? Hell, I died a long time ago. By 2020, this will be in effect. The United States has been subdivided into 10 regions. Everything is 10. Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri are Zone 7. The boundaries and the county boundaries have been erased. That's why you see all these joint task force on police. The policemen don't know this. Police departments are becoming one. Everything has to become one. Have you noticed the school district problems in St. Louis County? Algin Solzhenitsyn. He wrote a book called The Gulag Archipelago. In there he lays out a plan. And what he said was you have to build educational barracks to get the kids to go to so they can have diversity. You are about to see a proposal probably in the next 4 or 5 years where they are going to build barracks, educational campgrounds for kids, and everybody's going to turn it over to them. And then what started happening, he just talks about how they would let the kids come home 1 week in the month, then they expanded it to every 6 months, and then once a year. And then what the kids started doing was spying on the parents. And guess what happened to the parents? They went to the Gulag. You know where the Gulag was at? It was in Siberia. That's where you all going to go. The day is going to come when grown men are going to cry in which they were never born because they didn't spend time with their daughters. They didn't spend time with their sons, but they stayed some stupid game down in Busch Stadium. The average football ticket last year cost $247 per person. This year they said that this Super Bowl game was the most expensive in world history, and people went bankrupt to go see it. I really don't get it. Right now there are 3 phases that a society goes through. One is persecution. That means your faith is being challenged. Everybody mocks you. Everybody ridicules you. They stand for nothing. If you take a stand against sodomy, abortion, you are a terrorist, ladies and gentlemen. The next phase is prosecution. The final phase is execution. In the scriptures, does it not teach you about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? You have a white horse and a pale horse. The pale horse is actually beryl green. Do you know what the color of Islam is? Green. Does it not say whoever refuses to take the mark will be beheaded? Do you know how the Muslims take care of you? They cut your head off. The only passive Muslim is a Sufi. Until they get around a more dominant Muslim, then they will kill you. Muslims are passive until they gain parity with you or they exceed you in numbers, and they will kill you. Positivism, which is a communist doctrine of law, says the state is the highest form of authority, and whatever the state gives, the state can take away. And under positivism, you have something called civil rights. There's a difference between constitutional rights and civil rights. Under positivism, the law changes with each new generation. Well, trying to define a generation may be a bit problematic. Some say 20 years, some say 50, some say 100. So can you see the confusion in our country today? Today, a federal agent is immune from any prosecution. Does that sound reminiscent of something? Ruby Ridge, Waco, Texas. You cannot try a federal agent in a state court. This is not constitutional. The British did the same thing, and our ancestors took up muskets to stop it. What's going on in Nevada right now? And there's more of it getting ready to go in Texas that you haven't heard about yet. They're getting ready to take thousands of acres down there. Right now in the United States, most chiefs of police and sheriffs and lieutenants and above will go to the FBI Academy. When they go to the FBI Academy, they come back brainwashed for some reason. Now, I know the St. Louis County Police has that policy. I do not know about the rest of them, but I know just about every sheriff will go to the FBI Academy. Operation Garden Plot talks a lot about the continuity of government. The continuity of government is a concept where those in power are going to protect themselves against you. And every time you do something they don't like, they become more oppressive. I personally, and many people that I work with, expect an imminent collapse of the United States. It may be one major event, it may be a series of events, but it's going to happen. I've killed a lot. And if I need to, I'll kill more. If you don't want to get killed, don't show up in front of me. It's that simple. I have no problems with it. There comes a time when you got to man up. They're going to take your kids from you and put them in indoctrination camps. They're going to do it. And there's nothing you're going to do to stop it because we've waited too long. I see a lot of gray-haired people in here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a 50-year fight. All of us are not going to survive it. So what you do now is for your children. Has nothing to do with you. You got to get the me out of the way. You got to get in the fight to be in the fight. And I only know maybe one or two people in here that's seen combat. For those of you who have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, you're dead. Your maximum effective lifespan is 24 hours from the time this thing hits. That's all you got. And this is going to happen. Colonel Kappel, a full-bird colonel, commander of SOC Europe, that's Special Forces Command Europe, flew into Bosnia, and he assembled all of the SF guys up in the greenhouse. And this was in 1999. He says, "Gentlemen, there's about to be an attack upon the United States." And he put on a presentation like I'm putting on you, and he put up on the screen all the people that were going to be involved in it. They were already there. 19 of them were from Saudi Arabia. Only one of them was from somewhere else. And he says, after that happens, the United States will be forever changed. He flew home and retired. He said, I'm not going to be part of what America is going to turn into. And you know the rest of it. 14 years later, there's no weapons of mass destruction. Syria don't have them. Nobody has them. We got satellites in the sky. Nobody tracked them. They don't exist. So why did we go? That's the big question. In Saddam Hussein's trial in The Hague, it was proven he had nothing to do with the World Trade Towers. That man was hung. But you know what he said that really interested me? He says, you know, I've done a lot of things. I've killed a lot of people. But he says, I've never murdered 50 million of my own people. Who do you think he was talking to? Us. So there was no weapons of mass destruction. Didn't happen. He was cleared by our own State Department of having anything to do with 9/11. So why did we go? World government, folks. Anybody that resisted is dead, including you.